Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
Who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And what he do?
And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, and I work hard. I work really hard. I do this, and I do this with my son. It's a collaborative project with our content genius, Michael Rivers. But I also have a thriving law practice, and I actually try cases. This last year, I tried over 10 cases. I am a full-time criminal defense lawyer. It's what I do. And I'm board certified, which means that I am an expert in the area of criminal law. So when I give analysis, that's the umbrella under which it falls. And in trying 10 cases, that doesn't mean I only handled 10 cases. That means I went to actual trial on 10 cases. And I'm 7-3. Won 7 cases, I've lost 3. Now, what does it mean to actually try a case? One case I tried in August was 2.5 weeks. So to try a case, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. But you handle far more than 10 cases throughout the year. You know, a lot of cases get dismissed, a lot of cases get litigated, a lot of cases get settled by a plea. And so handling 10, I've never tried 10 cases in my career in 1 year because that's a lot of trials. When you think about it, at least a week, if not 2 weeks for each trial, that's a lot of weeks in trial throughout the year. So that's what I do. I have a thriving practice, and so I do both of these things, and I can wear 2 hats and we can multitask. So we're going to react to give you a thug update and let you know what's going on with YSL and their trial. But before we get to that, this episode is brought to you by eSign. eSign is a company that allows you to remotely sign a document, making things so much easier if you have any kind of agreement you need to sign. Like, let's say you have an agreement to sell a car or a business agreement, or even a retainer agreement. I use them in my retainer agreements. Somebody from across the country wants to hire me for a particular case. I send them a retainer with eSign. All I have to do is click, 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 and it's done. So wherever you get your apps, and get the eSign app, you won't be disappointed. It makes business so much simpler. So now we're reacting to what's going on with Thug update. So young Thug has been charged. He's mentioned in 8 counts on this I think it's 65 count indictment. We got count 1. When this is the biggest one, and we'll kind of analyze this in detail in a second. But count 1, the conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. Then counts 56 and 57, participation in a criminal street gang activity. Then count 58, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Who cares? Possession of codeine with intent to distribute. Possession of cocaine. Possession of firearm. Possession of machine gun. Those 7 counts, in a way, yeah, they're all serious, but they're almost who gives a shit because they're not really that serious in terms of time. But count 1 is the most serious, and we're going to analyze count 1 here in a second. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with the trial right now. So we're in the jury selection phase, and at the beginning of this, there's 2 things that happen. One, this is a very high-profile case, so they just called up a panel of 200 potential jurors to be in the first pool. And they give them all questionnaires. And what a questionnaire is, you fill it out, and have you heard about this trial? Do you know about what YSL is? Or, whatever the questions are, to see if they have any biases or if there's any way they can't be fair. Okay? And so they have them fill out these questionnaires, and then the lawyers get the questionnaires, and they look through them, and maybe there's somebody that's got a hearing disability or a bad back or something where they couldn't sit for a trial, or maybe somebody is a victim of gang violence, or maybe somebody has people that they know that are in the trial for whatever reason that they don't think this is a case for them. So they take those ones, and those are called for cause strikes. You can kick somebody off the jury for any or no reason. Those are called preemptories. But if there is a reason, you call them for cause. And there's an unlimited number of those. You get so many preemptories, and I'm not sure how many preemptories they have in this case. Generally, it's usually 9 and 5 in the most serious cases. But because it's such a large jury pool, my guess is that they're going to have more than that, and that's within the judge's discretion. So when they bring the jurors in, the judge reads the indictment. Okay, so we're going to watch the judge reading the indictment, and when the judge read and we're not going to watch him read the whole thing, but when he did, watch what he does.
YSL released a song on YouTube titled Slime Shit, where the lyrics state, "Hey, this is that slime shit. Hey, YSL shit. Hey, killing 12 shit.
Hey, killing 12 shit." What's 12? You know what 12 is. Cops, right?
Hey, fuck a jail shit. Hey, cooking white brick. I'm not new to this. Hey, so I'm not new to this. Hey, I'm so true to this. Hey, I done put up a whole slime of 100 licks.
You know what a lick is.
Slime or get slime. I'm in the VIP and I got that pistol on my hip.
I got that pistol on my hip. Now remember, there's a real controversy about whether you can use somebody's lyrics in a criminal case, right? We've talked about that. I've actually litigated that in one of my last trials, and I won that argument, and the judge kept it out.
You praying that you live, I'm praying that I hit. Hey, that slime shit. Fuck the police, fuck them in a high speed, 100 rounds in a Tahoe.
So these are Thug's own words, right? It's part of his music. But if you look at what Thug does, I mean, I was watching some of his videos the other day, and he talks literally about his life, what's happening in his life. And this, right away, in my opinion, the judge is reading stuff that is, but it's in the indictment, and it hasn't been litigated whether it becomes into evidence or not. But they're already hearing those really harsh lyrics.
Prepared to take them down. Got banana clips for all these niggas acting monkey. That slime shit. That mob shit. Fuck the judge, YSL. That mob life, an overt act.
So the judge read that, and what that part of the indictment. Now remember what a conspiracy is. It's an agreement between two or more people to commit a crime, and then an overt act in furtherance of that crime. And the thought is that that song was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. So now let's take a look at at count 1 of that indictment. Count 1 charges Thug with conspiracy, okay? And I'm going to read it to you. And it says, and really the teeth in, even though it's a huge indictment, and even though he's charged with 8 counts within that indictment, the teeth of their prosecution is really in count 1. With the offense of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, OCCA, for the said accused, together with unindicted co-conspirators in the state of Georgia and the county of Fulton, on or between the 24th day of January 2013 and the 8th day of May 2022, did unlawfully conspire and acquire and maintain, directly and indirectly, an interest in and control of the United States currency and other personal property through a pattern of racketeering activity in violation of OCCA, that's Georgia statutes, OCGA, and while associated with an enterprise, did unlawfully conspire to conduct and participate in, directly and indirectly, such enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity in violation of OCGA as fully set forth herein, contrary to the law of the state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. In other words, committing crime for the benefit of an organization, okay? And that's what YSL is, the organization. So the count 1 starts out with the conspiracy. Here's what the conspiracy is. Part 2 of count 1 they describe the enterprise. YSL is an enterprise consisting of a group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. So in other words, it's not incorporated. YSL constitutes an ongoing organization whose members function as a continuing unit for the common purposes of achieving objectives of the enterprise. Now, if you remember what they've done with everybody that has pled, they got them to admit that YSL is an organization and that they were committing crimes for the benefit of YSL. So when Gunno says he's not a snitch and he's not going to testify, he can now be compelled to testify, as I told you before. And they got him to admit on the record, as they did everybody else, you want the keys out of the jail, you got to say this and this. They can compel these people who have pled, because once they pled, they've already taken care of their criminal liability, so they don't really have a Fifth Amendment right to not say anything anymore. So because you have the right against self-incrimination when you have that liability in front of you. But if you've already taken care of that liability, if you've already pled, you don't have any worry about getting convicted anymore because you're already convicted of the crime. The Constitution guarantees you the right against self-incrimination. That's the Fifth Amendment right. So you can't be compelled to testify against yourself. And you know, let's say Gunna didn't plead. His case is pending, but they're going to do it at a different time, and Thug's case is going forward. I'm just saying that for instance. Well, if he could claim the Fifth Amendment then, because his case is still pending, and anything he said in that trial could be used against him later. So, but because he's pled, his case is over. So his liability is done. There's no more Fifth Amendment privilege. When you look at what they've done in court with the other defendants, and you look at the enterprise, the history, the identifiers, the agreement, that's why they were doing those pleas the way they did. Then we have the acts in furtherance of the conspiracy. That's part 3 of count 1 of the indictment. We have the various crimes and the various people that are involved with those crimes. And we have aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, theft by deception, possession of marijuana. And here's the thing. When you could say, well, I wasn't there when they did that. I wasn't there when they did that. I don't even know that guy. Here's the problem that you have in conspiracy language. Conspiracy is very difficult for the defense because not only are you responsible for the things you did, you're responsible for everything everybody else did, either before or after the conspiracy even started. So unless you take an affirmative step to withdraw from the conspiracy, and I haven't seen anything to say that he has. So in this case, what we have is all these other crimes, and you got 180 paragraphs plus, 182 paragraphs, something like that, of all these crimes in furtherance of this conspiracy that Thug is going to be tagged with if he is convicted of this. The most important one is number 16, paragraph 16 of the first indictment. Defendant Jeffrey Williams, an associate of YSL, did rent a 2014 silver Infiniti Q50 sedan from Hertz Rental Car, which was used in the commission of the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., a rival gang member, on the 10th day of January 2015, which is an act of racketeering activity and an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. Now, if he's convicted of this, and if it's specifically mentioned in paragraph 16 that they prove this, well, what's going to happen is he's liable for that murder, and he could be looking at a life sentence because of that. When they say it's been whittled down to 8 charges, no, he's mentioned in 8 counts. But really, the other ones kind of don't really matter. Distributing marijuana, who cares about that, honestly? The biggest teeth in the prosecution's case is in count 1. So, where do we go from here? Well, as you saw, the judge read the lyrics to one of the guys. Then the judge will start taking testimony from various jurors. And there's so many, it's going to take a few weeks for them to pick a jury. And here's what happens when you select a jury. The defense usually goes first. And the defense has the opportunity to ask all kinds of questions. Have you heard about this case? Do you have any friends in law enforcement, friends or family? Have you ever been convicted of a crime? What are your hobbies? Are you familiar with rap lyrics? Are you familiar with gangs? They're gonna go down a whole list. Have you ever heard of Young Thug? Have you ever do you know of his music? Have you ever heard the term YSL? They're gonna go through a whole list of questions, and you take into account their background, and you try to see if they have something that is so prejudicial that they just can't be fair. So you want to kick off as many people for cause as possible. They call it jury selection. It's really jury deselection, because you don't select a jury, you kind of kick people off one by one. And, sometimes you'll get somebody who says they can be fair, and you just know they'd be awful for your case. So you use a preemptory challenge for that. That means you can kick anybody off for any or no reason, except for you can't kick them off for a racial reason or a religious reason. So we will be following that and watching critical testimony, and we'll bring that to you as it comes. But we're not gonna really go through the, as the jury selection process happens. Maybe we'll do an episode on that, just so you can kind of see what the process is, because I think it's interesting. But there are going to be so many jurors that are going to be questioned. Maybe we'll do one or two, but it's just going to take forever. So it'll be a couple weeks or so before jury selection is over, and then the trial begins. And my guess is the trial is going to take a little while. There's a lot of witnesses, a lot of evidence, and so we'll bring to you the things that we think are important, and I guarantee you there'll be some riveting moments in this trial. And so when it happens, we'll bring it to you, and we'll give you the best legal analysis we possibly can. So I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Patreon, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God.